Even with little snow in the high country this winter, what is there can still slide. For the first time in 2 decades, Colorado made it into March without an avalanche death. That changed this weekend. Here's Mark Salinger.
This winter is strange. No snow, no cold, and up until this weekend, no deadly avalanches.
The last time we got into March before our first avalanche fatality was in the 2004 season, so 22 years.
Brian Lazar is the deputy director of the Colorado Avalanche Information Center. On Saturday, a 58-year-old man was killed while skiing and snowmobiling near Ptarmigan Pass. It's the first avalanche death in Colorado this winter.
People might think that low snowfall leads to safer avalanche conditions, and that sometimes can be true, but what really drives avalanche conditions is how the snowpack structure stacks up throughout the course of the season.
The backcountry snow conditions have been very unstable this year. Brian says there's already been 3,000 avalanches this winter, some big, some small, a pretty average amount for this time of the year.
And what was notable about this year is our prolonged dry spells. And so whenever we get prolonged dry spells in Colorado in the winter, we form really fragile weak layers on the surface of the snow.
Yet people stayed mostly safe through February. Part of that is luck, but a more important reason is preparation.
How we reach people has certainly changed over the years, and because we've got more tools at our disposal, we've probably gotten more effective at doing so.
30 years ago, people called a hotline to get avalanche conditions. Now there's an app and up-to-date information everywhere. That makes a difference, even in a winter as strange as this one.
This isn't a low avalanche count year by any stretch. Despite the thin snowpack cover, it doesn't mean the avalanche conditions have been safe.
It's so warm outside now that even with the snow this past weekend, the conditions in the backcountry look more like mid to late April, not early February or March. Brian says they're going to start dealing with more widespread wet avalanche activity far earlier this year than most years.
Oh, that's interesting, right? It kind of goes through cycles, right? There's the late cycle in terms of how it behaves. When did the season kind of start?
So up until mid-December, which it feels like pretty much winter at that point. There wasn't even enough snow up in the high country and in the back country for avalanches to start falling. So you really didn't see that increased danger until like mid-December into January. That's midway through the winter already up there.
Yeah, I mean, you think most of the people going into the high country have a lot more knowledge than your average Joe.
Exactly.
But you want people to be careful even in unusual conditions.
It can be dangerous anywhere.
All right, Mark Salinger, thank you.